What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rabbit Motorworks. Today we're going to do some work on the 2016 BMW 340i. And we're experiencing pulsating in the brake pedal and a shake in the steering wheel, which is a pretty good indication we've got some warped rotors on the front. So, ordered a new set from Silver Spring BMW. We're going to unbox those, get the car up on jack stands, and start digging in. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you haven't subscribed already, please click the subscribe button below and enjoy the wonderful content of the channel. Okay, got the front wheels off the car. They were kind of stuck onto these hubs, and I really had to kick them off to get them loose and unjarred. So they've got these kind of weird plastic dust caps, and as I was taking this one off over here, this one just came off, and looks like this metal spring or whatever kind of broke out. So I'm going to clean these up, see if I can. There we go. That's a piece of cake. So yeah, just accumulation of rust, so we'll get some of that out of there. I'm going to hit these hold down bolts with some PB blaster and start mangling those calipers loose as well. So that's the first step in disassembly. It's not too bad, it just looks like a little bit of surface rust. There we go. And we'll do the same with this side. In fact, I think I'm going to pop that off. Oh, that came right out of there. Okay. Okay. Hub-centric wheels. Yeah, for California, this is a little bit more rust on the front hub than I would have imagined. I have no idea why the driver's side seems worse off than the passenger. But we want to make sure this is nice and clean, because this is really what the wheel centers on. And I think what I'll do is, I've done this in the past, is I put a little bit of anti-seize on these too. And I think I'm gonna, just for giggles here, put a little bit of WD on them. Slow that down. Cool. We got the hubs cleaned up. That's making me feel better. And now we're gonna and those are loosened now, so that's awesome. That's for the calipers. So then we can start driving the pins out. These are 18 millimeter, by the way. And drive the pins out of these to get the pads out of there, and then we'll slip the caliper off. And also crank that hold down bolt too. So next step. Okay. So that came off super easy, so that's awesome. So with that loose, the other piece loose, let's drive the pin out of there. And this is the only pin punch I have, so we'll hopefully seems to go out with a piece of cake. Okay. Use a little bit of make sure I'm doing this on the outside of the pin and not the inside, but just something to there we go. It's one pin. And 2 pins. Okay, so now let's pull these pads out. There we go. Okay, well, as you can see, I've probably got about maybe a 1/4 inch of material left with some cracking in those. So that's the outboard pad. And this one is of course connected to the wear sensor. Pull that out. Take off the little wear sensor connector. Well, this isn't good. Actually, I'm seeing a cracked boot here on the upper shock. Kind of a bummer. That's another thing to do. So I typically just use something to hold the caliper from preventing it from hanging. So what we're going to do is just use a piece of 12 gauge wire that I had laying around, and I'm just going to wire it up here so it's out of the way. Okay. So we're going to just use good old 12 gauge primary wire to get this out of the way. Okay, so just going to let that dangle. That's fine. And now we're going to take off the rotor. With the hold on bolt. And yeah, this is going to go. Ta-da! Okay. That's one down. So we'll scuff up the hub, make sure this is all nice and clean, and let's start unboxing those other parts. Let's unbox some of these parts. So I got these again from Tisher BMW, which is now BMW of Silver Spring, which is getBMWparts.com. So either way, they're the cheapest dealer parts for a BMW that I've ever found, and I've been using them for years, especially with my other BMWs I've had, and really pleased with their customer service. So I keep giving them business. These are definitely the rotors. Yep. So one of the things to note, trying to find the right parts for F30 BMW, so many different variations of brakes on these. On the 340i specifically, it actually has Brembo brakes on it, Brembo calipers at least, and it's an updated, larger rotor compared to like a 320i. The other, upgrade is you could have got is like a upgraded, brake package as well. You can still actually buy a dealer add-on brake package for this thing with painted calipers in like orange, yellow, and red. I was almost going to do that, but I'm like, do I really? And I started reading some of the boards and the forums about it, and there's not a whole lot of folks talking, like their huge increase in performance. And so I've been happy with these brakes, other than the recent shimmy of what's been going on with them, and that's just wear, so maintenance. But okay, so here's the rotors. And those look to be the correct spec. Ooh, shiny. So we'll take the other one up here just to make sure. Yes, sir, that looks correct. So we'll definitely clean this surface off. As I can see, there's some markings here. We'll get some brake cleaner on that. So that's good. And let's see, a little box here. There's our sensor and some brake pad paste and our brake pads. So I went with the OEM brake pads. I've been happy with them in the past. I haven't really, that's your little dealer thing to tell you to go easy on the brakes. That's what they put in, and it's like some instructions in German and some certification written, it looks like Korean. Okay, so there's the new meaty pads, and they got the beveled piece on it. And yeah, so definitely thicker material. I was down to probably about there, so they were ready. And these look to be all there. Quite the interesting pad with these tangs on them, right? Compared to just normally you would see those. So very engineered. All right, so I think we can start reassembly on the driver's side with some of these. And definitely put this sensor wire on there. And some paste. I bought two. I think one's good enough, but the rears, in fact, the dealer did them, and they've been squeaking from time to time, so I was almost like, did they do the right stuff with the pad grease on there? So I figured maybe at some point I'd put a layer on there. So there we go. Let's get her together.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the disassembled components. This is probably what I'm concerned with as far as some of the symptoms I was experiencing. So definitely a big, huge fade vibration, especially when I'm driving this thing at high speed and really smashing on the brakes, really losing its ability to stop. So these are definitely like separating within the pad material. The rotors, I've got a groove right here in the front, and on the inside, the inner, not too bad, but yeah, we're gonna go for new ones here and hope that solves the problem.
This one and these are, and they'll all be new.
Yeah, they'll all be new. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is just kind of scuff down the hub again. So make sure there's no contaminants in any of this. I think that's all clean. And then what I'm going to do is use a little bit of brake clean here. And use that to clean any of the anti-corrosive that they put on the surface of the rotor, on the front and the back. And took just a little bit of that off. And so here, that should go, click. Okay, so that's our rotor back on. The other thing that we're going to need to do is click in the wear sensor. There's a little tiny nub here. That's the one that goes on the outside. There we go. Just a little persuasion with that in. Okay, so all that's together. I'll lay those out so that we can definitely get some paste on the back. But the next thing that we really need to do is compress in the pistons. I mean, rather simple nut and bolt removal here. I mean, this is a 2016 car, so 5 years old, roughly. Plus, you know, living in California is such a blessing. I don't have to deal with any corrosion, typically, or rust. And that's super, super helpful. Okay, so that's pretty much there. And torque these down. That's good. tight. Cool. Alrighty. So now let's take some of this magical stuff here. I don't know, I normally take, there's a blister of it here, you can pretty much put your fingers in the middle of it and squeeze half of it. Ooh, so it's silver. I keep changing this stuff every few times, but really this is to create, you know, some lubrication to stop any kind of squealing. You really don't want any of that, or boy, it gets annoying, especially if you're driving around stop and go traffic, you hear all that. So I just normally try to make sure I cover the area good. And then we'll get ready to put the pads in and retap the pins too. So next step. Okay, so we got our lubed up pads. We're just gonna slide these right in there. And they have a stop, so we're not gonna go any further than that. Okay, so I used the clamp to clamp those two in just because these are 4-piston calipers, meaning there's a piston on each side. I've done so many brake jobs where it's just been a single piston caliper, so this is new to me. And all I did is just take a pry bar, a little mini pry bar here, and push these out of the way. So, because I didn't have this one all the way compressed. There we go. Okay, so we got one slid in, and now we can slide the other one in. Oops, still a little bit out. But there we go, you can feel it going. So really small pistons, and you can really push these in pretty easily. It's gonna be really, I'm being really careful to make sure I got this right on the edge of the piston and not on the seal. Okay, so now I think I'm all the way in. Look at that, slides right in just like that. So these are really simple, good design to work with. So now I think we can basically put the anti-rattle clip on. Okay, so I'm gonna tap these back together. Let's connect up the sensor now. And pretty much plug and play. Just follow all the clips. Just like that. And plug this together. Click. And make sure this boot is in the right socket. Everything fits into place, and they've been doing this for years. I remember doing this with my E30s, and they were really engineered. So that's it. Close the little door. Ta-da. Okay, so there we go. That's the first side complete. Pretty painless. I learned a couple of things through it. Those pistons don't need a big clamp on them. Just a little pry bar is fine. Yeah, excited to go to the next side. We'll definitely slosh on a little bit of anti-seize on the hub and probably clean up the wheel too. So let's go on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up this hub a little bit. Just get any of the ferrous deposits from the hub off. And we are going to just put a light coating of anti-seize on the hub here. And this is really good protection of ensuring that you can get the wheels on and off. And I mean, I really had to kick these things off. So that's a good protection, and it'll put a good layer of anti-corrosion treatment on there. So there we go. It's all about all you really need. That's just where the wheel surface hits the hub. Okay. Okay, we are reassembled. Shiny new rotors and pads on both sides. So that's awesome. Got the anti-seize on there. We are going to, I'll just check. Yeah, it's fine. All I did is push back, and we're at the top of the range there. This is just an interesting little thing here. Looks like, well, I suppose we should do the right thing and move that out of the way. So I would assume that's our friendly 10mm. There we go. Lots of plastic on the newer ones, I tell you. Okay, that's in place. Maybe. There it is. Snap into place. Oh, I see there's like a little... Okay. Yeah. That's ready for 120 miles an hour. Just kidding. Okay, close that down. And we'll get the wheels back on her. Okay, back from the test drive, and everything really went well in the 340. Really good to get that knocked out. I was, you know, having warped rotors is just a pain because you're driving along, you get the wheel shaking and the pulsation, all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that that's finally been taken care of. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We're going to keep doing more content like this on the channel. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your post notifications so you can get notified for new videos. And again, thanks for watching.